All right, what is going on, YouTube? Happy Thursday. We've got Thursday Night Football. We've got the Steelers and the Browns. Oh, boy. Interesting game. Steelers 8-2, Browns 2-8. But we've got some wacky weather coming. So let's unpack this whole game. I'm going to give you guys my best bets here. But before they do that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's free. Give the video a thumbs up. Comment down below with your favorite play. So let's talk a little bit about the weather. We've got some nasty weather rolling into Cleveland. I can tell you, in Ohio, it is cold this morning, very cold. At game time, it is going to be 38 degrees. It's going to feel like 22 degrees. So it's going to kind of fluctuate. Actually gets a little bit warmer as the game goes on. By the end, it's going to feel about 29 degrees. So we've got cold weather, most likely some rain at the beginning, should fade away by the end of first quarter, around halftime, somewhere in there. Now, the issue is going to be the wind. It's going to be a very windy day. We're going to have wind between 16 and 20 with gust up to 20 to 25. So it's going to be a very windy day. It's going to be difficult to kick it. It's going to be difficult to pass it. So we should see pretty low scoring game, which we see reflected in the over-under of 36.5. And you can see a lot of sharp money coming in on that under. 71% of the money is on the under. Sharp money on the Browns at plus 3.5. I think the weather is going to play a significant factor here. Plus, we've got some history here on the Browns side. The Steelers have never won a road divisional Thursday night football game ever. 0-7 all time, 0-5 under Mike Tomlin. Overall, Mike Tomlin on the road in Thursday night football has not been good. He's only 2-8. So we've got some things that work in the Browns' favor. If we look at the defense for Pittsburgh, we'll start there. Giving up a decent amount of passing yards. 21st in passing yards allowed, 23rd in passing attempts allowed, and they've been prone to give up the long ball. So passing long about 44.5 yards. So that's 26th in the league. Now on the other side of the ball with the rushing, they do a great job, as you would expect. Third in the league in terms of rushing yards at 91.4 yards a game. Third in the league in rushing attempts at 22.4. We go to the other side with Cleveland. We'll take a look at their defense here. So passing yards, relatively similar to Pittsburgh, a little bit better at 226 yards a game, where they've been getting torches on the rushing. They are 22nd in the league, giving up 132.5 yards a game on the ground. And in terms of the rushing touchdowns, not so great there. 29th at 1.4 rushing touchdowns a game. But we got to remember, this is a different game. So we've got to remember kind of how that's going to work. We should see a lot of running, right? Pittsburgh does excel at the run, but if you kind of dig deeper, their yards per carry is not good. It's under 3.5, so not great there. They just run it a lot. So it's more the frequency they run. Obviously, they have a kind of two-headed duo here with Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris, with Najee being the primary back. I do think we see a lot of running in this game just with the wind. We'll have to see what direction it's coming from. That will play a significant factor. It looks like it's going to kind of shift the whole game. It goes from the west to the west-northwest to the northwest. So we're going to see a shifty little wind there. That's going to play a pretty significant factor, even on the kicking game as well. So what's the play here? I think we see a lot of blitzing. Browns are 5th in blitz rate. They're 1st in pressure. Steelers are already allowing a lot of pressure, so I think we're going to see Russell Wilson get sacked a few times. I'm sure Myles Garrett is going to tee off tonight a little bit, but I also think that means he's going to have to scramble out of the pocket. So that's going to be one of our plays. Now on the Cleveland side, they run a lot of man coverage, and I will tell you Russell Wilson is pretty damn good against man coverage. And he's actually performed okay, but when you put a lot of pressure on him, that's when he tends to make a mistake. He has thrown a pick in the last 2 games, and that's all came while being under pressure. We look at Jameis Winston. He's Jameis Winston. He's going to throw the ball, or at least he's going to attempt to throw the ball a lot. Probably going to throw at least 1 pick. It's kind of his calling card. And the thing about Jameson is, though, he gets the ball out quick, and he does well under pressure. He's actually a little bit better when you pressure him. So kind of bodes in Cleveland's favor. In my opinion, I don't know how you don't take Cleveland plus 3.5. I think it's going to be a very, very low scoring game. Points are going to be at an absolute premium. Given the Steelers' record on Thursday night, yeah, it's Cleveland up for me. Cleveland plus 3.5. I don't know if I'm actually going to bet that, though. I do like the props we're about to talk about. But we'll have to see. Have to see how the day goes on. I'm going to monitor the weather. Weather's going to play a significant factor today. But let's talk about props I like here. Russell Wilson over 26.5 passing attempts. He's over this in all 4 games he started. They're still going to have to throw the ball. So 27 attempts, not a ton. Najee Harris over 17.5 rush attempts. He's over this in the last 4 games with Russell Wilson as the starter. They're going to have to pound the rock today. So I like his over. Jalen Warren's is 9.5. I think that's right on the cusp in my opinion. 8.5, I'd probably roll with it. We might actually see that line drop to 8.5. Calvin Austin over 1.5 receptions. I like this. He's over this in 3 of the past 5 games. 55% of his routes are 15 yards. However, a ton of his catches come in the flat or short slants. So I like him to get 2 receptions here. David Njoku over 4.5 receptions. 40% of his routes are under 8 yards. Runs a ton of short routes. If the wind is picking up, we're going to see a lot of short passes today. So I like his over 4.5. Russell Wilson over 3.5 rushing attempts. So in his last 4 games, he's had 3, 3, 4, 4. So he's rushed it 4 times. In the last 2 games, they're going to pressure him. He is going to have to scramble and get out of the pocket. Another kind of cool thing that I do like, let's say you like Pittsburgh to win. I think there's a really good chance they win. But I think it's by 3. If they get to the end of the game and they have to kneel downs count as rush attempts. So that is another thing to factor in there. Last play on the card here, George Pickens over 58.5 receiving yards. I hate taking receiving yards with the win. That said, I think it's just a good value play. Over the last 4 games, he's at 111, 74, 91, and 89. So nothing to say he doesn't catch a 10, 12-yard pass and bust out a 30, 40-yard, yard after catch. So I like him to go over this 58.5. Like I said, overall, over-under, line's a little tight for me. I'd have to lean towards the under just with the weather. And Cleveland plus 3.5. So that is going to do it for me. If you guys want, join the Discord. It is free down below. We'll post some parlays and things like that. Check out the NBA video from earlier this morning, and I will catch you in the next video.